Hello and welcome to this Monday edition of the World Report. I'm Arjun Samar Mahindran. Let's take a look at what's making headline across the world. US President Donald Trump, in his latest post ahead of a meeting with Zelenskyy, has said President Zelenskyy of Ukraine can end this war with Russia almost immediately if he wants to, or he can continue to fight. Now, this comes as European leaders said they will join Ukraine's Vladimir Zelenskyy when he meets US President Donald Trump at the White House on Monday. This comes as they navigate Trump's alignment with Russia's position on ending the war after meeting Vladimir Putin last Friday. Now, Trump backed the Russian president's preference for a sweeping peace deal rather than an immediate ceasefire, which analysts say would let Moscow extend its battlefield gains while also pressing for territorial concessions from Ukraine. However, Kyiv and its European allies see hope in Washington's proposal to in fact offer Ukraine security guarantees to deter future Russian aggression. For Putin, the talks are less about ending the current conflict and more about clawing back Russia's lost Cold War stature. Many argue that this is in fact the case. Meanwhile, listen into what Trump's envoy, special envoy Steve Witkoff had to say.
I think the president supports a peace deal, Shannon, and he got through almost all of it in Alaska. I mean, I was personally surprised at the amount of wins that we had that day. It was right down the line. We agreed on much more robust security guarantees. The Russians agreed on enshrining legislatively language that would prevent them from, or they would attest to not attempting to take any more land from Ukraine after a peace deal, where they would attest to not violating any European borders. So we got through quite a bit, and there's a whole lot more.
Let's talk about the security guarantees, because you mentioned those. What does that mean in practicality? What is the U.S. willing to commit to that effort to give Ukraine the assurances it needs to come to the table?
It means that the United States is potentially prepared to be able to give Article 5 security guarantees, but not from NATO, directly from the United States and other European countries. That is big. I mean, really big.
China's Foreign Minister Wang Yi is set to arrive in New Delhi a little later than 4 p.m. this afternoon for crucial talks with top leaders including PM Narendra Modi, External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar and National Security Advisor Ajit Doval. My colleague Gauri unpacks the latest.
A lot of geopolitical realignments have actually happened. Likewise, the India-China relationship, the number of developments that have actually happened in the last couple of months has been very significant. Now, Chinese Foreign Minister is going to be in India on a 3-day visit. He will first and foremost be speaking to National Security Advisor. Remember, NSA Ajit Doval on our side and Wang Yi on the Chinese side are the two special representatives who will continue the border talks ever since the Galwan clash. This is going to be the 24th edition of the border talks that will continue to talk about the continued de-escalation as far as the line of actual control is concerned. Remember, this comes after the Galwan clash, where there have been talks that have made some progress. One also needs to keep in mind that the India-China relationship is complex and layered, multi-layered in fact. So even incremental progress should be viewed in that sense of the significance of it going forward. So this round of talks between Ajit Doval on Indian side and Wang Yi on the Chinese side will continue to focus on de-escalation as far as the border talks are concerned. That's one aspect of this. The second aspect of this visit also needs to be kept in mind, given the fact that the trade talks and several other diplomatic efforts have actually got a big fillip in the last couple of weeks. One can say Donald Trump had a great role to play, that he expedited this entire development. But things as they may be, because of external factors, trade and development talks have also gotten a fresh fillip. Now, resumption of flights is something that's a long-standing demand of the Chinese. Direct flights from India to China, that is likely to now be taken in terms of considering to finalize that. That could happen fairly soon. And it also comes ahead of some non-tariff barriers that China had imposed on India. Now, when you say non-tariff means that it could be in terms of ensuring there are an informal sort of a ban that may be put in place. Things may become tougher to be able to import. Those are called non-tariff barriers. Some of that India is seeing with regard to critical minerals, with regard to fertilizers, and that is also likely to then be taken into consideration in these talks. It comes just ahead of Prime Minister Modi's very important visit that will be at the SCO, and this lays the groundwork for that crucial meeting between Prime Minister Modi and Xi Jinping later this month in China.
We shift our focus to Ireland, where a 22-year-old Indian man was recently harassed with racist slurs and assaulted with a knife by 3 teenagers in Ireland. He is in fact now narrated the turn of events, or the sequence of events that in fact left him injured while returning home from his college. Speaking to NDTV, he also flagged a spate of recent anti-immigrant attacks targeting Indians, calling it unacceptable. Now, the man, who did not wish to be named or reveal his identity, said he had just deboarded the bus and was just about 300 to 350 meters from his doorstep when 3 teenagers emerged from an alley and surrounded him. Listen in to this sound clip.
I'd gone out to do a house viewing for a friend, and my battery ran out of charge. That's why I had to switch from taking a bus to taking a train, because I wasn't really sure of the bus route. That led to a slight delay, so the train took me to the city centre. I headed to my college bus stop, and that's when I got on the bus. Everything was fine until then, nothing to worry about. 3 lads came out of this small alleyway, and they surrounded me. Before I could say or react to anything, the guy in the middle, he grabbed me by the collar, and what I presume is a blunt knife, he held it to my neck and started asking me for money. I told him that I don't carry loose cash. I have some spare change in my bag and my pockets, and they were more than welcome to take it. I repeatedly told them that they're welcome to check my pockets and the bag. In between this, there was a moment when he let go of my collar a little, and I used that opportunity to push him away. The kids, they're essentially kids. I would put them probably between the age of 16 to 19. I pushed them away, and a scuffle broke out, during which the main aggressor, he hit me a couple of times on my collarbone.
A club shooting in the New York City borough of Brooklyn early Sunday morning has left 3 people dead and 9 others wounded in a year of record-low gun violence in the city. Investigators, meanwhile, believe up to 4 shooters opened fire with multiple weapons at the Taste of the City lounge in Crown Heights area after a dispute just before 3:30 a.m. local time. Now, the violence appeared to be gang-related. New York Police Department Commissioner Jessica Tisch told reporters. Listen in.
Last night, we lost 3 New Yorkers and 9 more are in the hospital after a horrific act of gun violence at a nightclub in Crown Heights. Today, while, of course, we mourn the victims and pray for their families and their community, we are calling on the public. We need your help. We need your help. If you were inside the club, if you heard individuals talking about this shooting, if you witnessed someone fleeing the location, every piece of information will allow us to put the puzzle together to solve this crime. If you witnessed the event or if you have information, please call Crime Stoppers. 800-577-TIPS, TIPS. 800-577-TIPS. Gun violence of this magnitude, it really scars a community and a city. But we will continue to fight to do everything that's possible to continue to take illegal guns off our street.
A semi-truck driver identified as Harjinder Singh has been arrested for vehicular homicide after an illegal U-turn on the Florida Turnpike led to a crash that resulted in the deaths of 3 people. Now, Harjinder has been living in the U.S. illegally since 2018. The horrifying video shows a car crashing into the semi-truck driver driven by Harjinder when he makes an illegal U-turn. Here's more. Shifting our focus to Pakistan, where the death toll from heavy monsoon floods and landslides has even continued to rise rapidly, with at least 307 people confirmed dead. Meanwhile, at least 74 others and their homes have been damaged by a rescue helicopter crash during the operation, killing its 5 crew. Government forecasters, meanwhile, say heavy rainfall was expected until the 21st of August in the northwest, where several areas, in fact, have been declared disaster zones. The United States has stopped issuing visas for people from Gaza. It's a move that has raised alarm among charities and medical organizations alike. The State Department, meanwhile, said it would also carry out a full review of the procedures for granting medical humanitarian visas, which it described as a very limited category. Now, these visas have served as a lifeline, in fact, for seriously injured children from Gaza who were brought to the US for treatment that was otherwise unavailable. South Korea said Monday there were no immediate plans to suspend live wire training near the disputed maritime border with North Korea and Seoul, and Washington began annual joint military exercises. The North had earlier, in fact, warned the large-scale drills would deepen regional tensions and vowed to, in fact, respond to any provocation against its territory. Here's more.
Objection 8. 우선 서북도서 해상 사격 훈련 중지에 대해서는 검토한 바는 없습니다. 접경 지역 훈련에 대해서는 제가 아는 바가 없고요. 한번 확인해 보겠습니다. 그리고 군사합의 관련해서 말씀하셨는데 지금 현재로서는 제가 구체적으로 드릴 말씀은 없고 국방부는 정부의 한반도 평화 구축 노력을 뒷받침하기 위해서 군사 대비 태세를 유지하는 가운데 실효적인 긴장 완화 조치들을 지속해 나가겠다는 말씀을 대신하겠습니다.
Bolivia's dark horse centrist Senator Rodrigo Paz addressed supporters on Sunday after early results showed he drew more votes than the right-wing frontrunners in the country's presidential runoff. Now, Paz's totals was not enough to secure an outright victory and would see him face off against right-wing former President Jorge Tuto Coruga. Bolivia will hold the second round, its first presidential runoff since its 1982 return to democracy on the 19th of October. We get you more.
No para ofender, sino nuestro proyecto es profundamente boliviano, de un proyecto para todos los bolivianos. Es un proyecto abierto, porque lo que queremos es construir la reconciliación de la patria, la producción de la patria. Queremos retomar la fuerza productiva. Necesitamos estabilizar, generar gobernabilidad, generar un cambio en la economía para que la economía sea de la gente y no del Estado.
New York Mayor Eric Adams has rebuked mayoral candidate Zohran Mamdani's long-standing push to decriminalize prostitution. Now, he's questioning how somebody who calls himself religiously guided could ever support sex work. Adams said, and I'm quoting here, I can't believe I couldn't be more clear. I'm a man of God, just as Mamdani says he's a Muslim. I don't know where in his Quran it states that it's okay for a woman to be on the streets selling her body. His owner told reporters Sunday, I don't know what Quran he is reading. I'm not in my Bible, he added. Now, as a man who said he is of faith, I don't quite understand what religion supports prostitution. That's what New York City Mayor Eric Adams said on Mamdani's stance to, in fact, legitimize prostitution in New York City if he, in fact, wins the elections later this year. In the Far East, China has delivered the third of the 8 new advanced Angkor-class submarines to Pakistan as part of Beijing's efforts to upgrade Islamabad's naval strength to support its growing presence in the Indian Ocean. In India's backyard, the second of the 8 submarines China is building for Pakistan was in fact handed over in March this year itself. This is in addition, of course, to the 4 modern naval frigates that China supplied to Pakistan in the last few years as part of its efforts to boost Islamabad's naval strength amid the Chinese Navy's steady expansion in the Arabian Sea, where it's in fact also developing the Gwadar port in Balochistan as well as in the Indian Ocean. A Hong Kong court began hearing final arguments Monday in the landmark national security trial of former pro-democracy newspaper founder Jimmy Lai, who could very well by the way, be sentenced up to life in prison if he is convicted. Now, 77-year-old Lai was arrested in 2020 under a national security law imposed by Beijing following anti-government protest back in 2019. Now, he's being tried on charges of colluding with foreign forces to endanger national security and also conspiring with others to issue seditious publications. Lai founded Apple Daily, one of the local media outlets that was most critical against Hong Kong's government. The death toll from a flash flood that swept through a wild camping site in North China's Inner Mongolia Autonomous Region has risen to at least 10, with 2 people still missing, local emergency authorities said Sunday. Now, the disaster struck around 2200 hours or 10 p.m. on Saturday in the upper reaches of a river, Urad Rer Banner, near the Bayonar city, leaving 13 campers unaccounted for. By 7:20 on Sunday or 5:20 p.m. local time, 1 person had been rescued, 10 were confirmed dead, and 2 remained missing. Now, more than 700 rescuers, viewers, have been promptly dispatched to the site to search for the missing. Hurricane Erin weakened to a Category 3 hurricane on Sunday. Its outer bands lashing the Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico, as forecasters warned the storm was rapidly growing in size and would in fact gain new strength as well. Now, while Erin's maximum winds diminished, its overall size grew, and forecasters in fact issued tropical storm warnings for the Turks and the Caicos Islands and also the southeast of Bahamas. The hurricane's outer bands were pelting parts of Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands with heavy rains and tropical storm winds during the day. Puerto Rico's governor, meanwhile, has said the hurricane did not make landfall on the island, but has warned of strong winds. Over in Europe, Spain is deploying a further 500 soldiers to battle wildfires that have torn through parched woodland during a prolonged spell of scorching weather. PM Pedro Sanchez said Sunday. Now, the decision to add to the more than 1,400 troops already on the wildfire duty came as authorities, in fact, are struggling to contain these blazes, especially in the northwestern Galicia region, and also they are awaiting the arrival of the promised aircraft reinforcements from other European countries. Firefighters, meanwhile, are tackling 12 major wildfires in Galicia, all of them near the city of Orense. Now, that's the head of the Galician regional government, Alfonso Rueda, told a press conference with Sanchez.